Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to item C is approval of minutes from March 2nd, 2020. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes shall stand approved. They stand approved. Item D, citizen communication. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address council on anything other than what is on the agenda? None, we'll move on. Item E is reports from council committees, electric and water, sewer, refuse, recycling, litter committee, municipal properties, building, land use, economic development, and the Parks and Rec. All were canceled due to lack of agenda items. Item G is introduction of new ordinances and resolution, starting with G1, resolution number 009-20, a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds over $25,000 for the purpose of purchasing 2 replacement vehicles for the City of Napoleon Police Department, and to award said purchase to Matthews Ford, Oregon, and declaring an emergency. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Joel?
Thank you, Council President. As we discussed at the last meeting, in our budget, we are scheduled to replace 2 vehicles. The price that we got from Matthews Ford in Oregon is lower than the state term contract. We could also get the upfits done there. So overall, it's under budget for the purchase of these vehicles. The request for suspension is due to the timing of the of when we have to give them notice of when we're making this purchase. Their deadline that they gave us is before the April 6th meeting, so we would have to make a determination now if we want to make this purchase or not. So that's why the request for suspension.
Thank you. Have a motion for suspension?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Ken?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Rox, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. That has passed under suspension on first read. Moving on to item G2, resolution number 010-20, a resolution authorizing contracts with the townships of Napoleon, Harrison, Freedom, and the Village of Florida, and Henry County South Joint Ambulance District for the fire service and/or emergency medical service commencing April 1st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Joel?
Thank you. This is, as we discussed in the, not we, Councilman Bear.
You were not there.
We were in Washington, as we usually are every year. We meet with the different ambulance districts and the surrounding townships to discuss the contracts that we have with them for EMS services that we provide. And this is just the approval of these renewed contracts and requesting first read.
Any other questions, comments?
None.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. that, we'll move on to second reads. Item G3 is ordinance number 011-20, and ordinance amending ordinance number 088-19 regarding the composition and compensation of certain City of Napoleon position classifications in and for the year 2020 and declaring an emergency. Have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Joel?
Thank you. And this ordinance would eliminate the senior engineering tech / zoning administrator position, and also adjust the pay for the zoning administrator position. It's adjusted down from what it was previously, but the duties of the zoning administrator now have been diminished now that we don't do building inspection.
And any of the other duties that were performed in this position, is it dispersed amongst other employees? Or?
Housing officer is dispersed. The city manager is the housing officer, access housing officer.
Okay.
So that's not added back into the zoning administrator position. That was done prior to when Tom Zimmerman left. The inspection piece was a big piece of this because of the certifications required to do building inspection. Now that's all handled by Wood County.
Okay.
Same inspector though.
Did you check with the city manager if he's okay with
Yeah.
this? Right. Any other questions or comments? Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right. Moving on to item H, second reads ordinances and resolution. H1 is ordinance number 007-20, an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 925 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Napoleon, specifically Section 925.13, waste collection rates, and Section 925.16, purchase of tags and utility payments, and repealing ordinance number 067-12 and 028-95. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Joel?
Okay, thank you. This is second read on the item that would add a bag to the allow residents to put out at the curb every week without having to get a bag tag, increasing it from 1 to 2. I believe the only changes are the ones that are highlighted here, eliminating 1 and adding 2.
So if this goes, this passes after the third read, would it take effect immediately that following week, or?
According to the legislation, I believe we didn't set a date to it. I did recommend
Sometime in
at one
May.
point
May
to
4th.
Wasn't it in May?
I did recommend to put it, schedule it for May 4th to give us enough time to give notifications, but, you know, we could implement it immediately. It just,
Okay.
it's,
I guess if it passes, once it
once
passes,
it
then
passes
you
and
can put it,
people put bags out. there's
2 bags
really-
out.
So no, there's no emergency clause on here.
Right.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Typically it takes 30 days.
30 days, yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha,
But
gotcha,
that's well before May, so.
So that would put us at, you know, passed on April 6th. Well, would 30 days would put us at, because the next, we have 3 weeks.
So it would be early May.
It'd be the first week in May.
Yeah. First week of May. So
Okay.
we'll be right
The
on.
third week in April.
It's a good time. See, that was by design.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we have one more read, and that would be
Yeah.
30 days from that date. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
When is citywide spring cleanup scheduled for right now?
May 11th, week of May 11th.
Okay.
We have the hydrant flushing that takes 3 weeks plus, you know, we gotta Build
I'm
it
just saying if
enough
we
time.
just, if that is that week, then we can set this for the week after that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's more than 30 days. This is when we're gonna start. We're over 30, we're okay.
yep.
Just food for thought. We can decide next time exactly when it starts.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter.
Any other questions, comments? Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item I, third reads of ordinances and resolutions. I1 is ordinance number 005-20, an ordinance approving an ODOT repair project and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Joel?
Third read, pardon me, this is just third read on the ODOT repair project of the underpass on 108 and 24 due to an accident. ODOT requires us to have legislation to work in our jurisdiction. Still scheduled for June. We don't know now, but still right now, best information that we have right now is that they're planning to start in June.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that has passed on third read. I'll need your signature on this one. Doesn't look like. Okay, moving on to item I2, ordinance number 006-20, an ordinance approving current December 2019 replacement pages to the City of Napoleon's codified ordinances. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Joel?
This is just third and final read of the replacement pages for codified ordinances that Walter Drain Company reviews for us twice per year.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that has passed on third read. Okay, moving on to item J, the good of the city. J1 is discussion or action review, approval of the power supply cost adjustment factor for March 2020 as PSCAF 3-month average factor 0.01668 and JV2 0.005426. Anything on that, Joel?
We're consistent. The one thing I can point out, though, is that the biggest thing is our usage is what is down compared to 2019, and typically that's because it's weather related.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see less usage. I'm surprised because of that. I'm surprised our power cost adjustment factors aren't higher, but we've taken a few steps to keep that and minimize that. So that's a good thing. But typically you see a little bit more fluctuation because in certain times of year we are long on power. But if you look at our usage, we're still doing pretty good. It was just lower than last year. It's not a good sign, but we'll probably be lower in February as well. I suspect we'll be lower in March just because of the mild temperatures. So,
One extra day in February.
one extra day in February.
You did.
Yeah, good point. That does make a difference.
Yes.
But that's it.
Okay. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that's been approved. Item J2 is discussion or action recommendation for Planning Commission to approve PC 20-01 subdivision replat to combine two parcels to build a new optometrist office. Damara and LLC, Brian Bosselman.
So the, Brian Bosselman came on behalf of a local optometrist, and they want to combine these two parcels, which are at the corner of Independence and Oakwood. There's a lot of work going on there right now. The way the road is actually, does not actually go with, it does not currently look like that plat, but if we ever change it, the building is ready for that change. Open up quite a large optometry office and all kinds of parking around it, and none of that will interfere if we ever decide to move the road till it curves like it is in that plan. It was an easy 3-0 vote, as these all were, to approve the combining of these two parcels. It is the right kind of zoning for this kind of business. So I think we just need a motion to approve, is that what we need?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Okay.
Do we know that there's a water line that runs right through that big property?
Which, you're talking about, hang on here. I don't know why I lost it here.
I'm just wondering.
We're aware of the utilities and the development, so they've been working with all of our staff to,
Okay. I just,
mitigate potential for anything going on with the utilities. And
because I think there's
particularly the electric, because the electric line runs directly through the middle between those two properties.
and I
So
think there's a
we're
water
putting
line
it
that does
underground
that also,
and
too.
doing a workaround for them.
Yeah. And I think we have a buried valve there in the corner someplace, just to let people know.
I believe we do have that mapped,
Okay.
yeah. We'll double check on that one
I just want to,
though. On the corner, you said?
I think
Okay.
it's pretty close to a telephone box or something, if I remember right.
Let's say we have that mapped.
Okay. Just want to be on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder how you remember all that.
Right.
What's going to happen when I get old and forget this stuff? Because those guys still say, "You remember this?" I said, "I sure do."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, just don't get old.
oh, that's easier said than done.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that's been approved. Moving on to item J3 is discussion or action recommendation from Planning Commission to approve PC 20-02 subdivision replat to combine two parcels to build a Love's Truck Stop.
So out on American and Industrial Drive, the corner there's a large field. That's one section, and then the other one is right beside it. That's the two parcels they want to combine to build the Love's Truck Stop. Love's is aware of our requirements for strengthening the infrastructure in that area to provide for truck traffic, and they're agreeing to do those things. The neighbor was Paul Martin and Sons, and they were here and they got their questions answered, and there were no objections raised for the two parcels to be combined. They're of the right kind of zoning to do this. So they're combining the the rectangle on the left where the cursor is, and the big odd-shaped piece there on the right. Past 3-0.
Okay. Thank you for the update. Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve.
Second. I'm waiting for you to.
Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that's been approved. Item J4, discussion or action, recommendation from Planning Commission to approve PC 20-03, alley vacation at the end of Fair Street for potential residential development. Cali Design and Build.
On your way out on Oakwood to check on the new subdivision, or excuse me, the new parcels to go together for the replat for the optometrist office, you'll pass Fair Street. And on the end of Fair Street, there is a house that has been purchased already by Cali Design, and then there's a paper alleyway that basically is the end of that road that leads then into what is now probably farm ground, but I'm not even sure it's farm ground. I think it's
Overgrown ground.
It's overgrown ground, yeah. Cali has bought that one house, and they bought all the ground that's being unused right now, and they want to combine basically all those and put up, I think it was 16 condo kind of places for 16 houses, and eight buildings for 16 houses with condos and 8 standalone homes along in there. And they want to be able to vacate that in order to build right across that alley. The alleyway basically, it's a paper alley. It leads basically to nowhere. If you follow that, kind of where the cursor goes, eventually you'd end up in the pond there on the right-hand side of Oakwood as you go out towards the commissioner. So the resident that was here asking questions didn't even realize there was a paper alley there on her property. So it's kind of an interesting conversation. So there's again a pass 3-0 with nobody objecting in the audience.
So you say 16 units total?
16 units, yeah, we 24 new places to live.
24 units
And
total.
16.
8 houses,
16
8
buildings.
duplex condos.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That will disturb the deer runway out there. I drove out there this morning, and as I drove in, there were 8 deer gently plodding along the alleyway.
They'll find a way to another neighborhood like mine and eat my cherry or my crab apple tree again. So I'm okay with it.
Any questions or comments? Rox, please call us. Oh, we need a
I'll
motion.
move to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Lori did.
All right, I'll second.
All right.
Sorry.
That was worth 2.
Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. That's been
Happens to
approved.
get old.
J5, discussion and action, recommendation from Planning Commission to approve PC 20-04, conditional use permit at 2269 Scott Street to build a planned commercial development.
So in between Walmart, the Farmers Merchant State Bank, and Taco Bell, there's an empty spot, and this building would basically cover in on that empty spot that currently exists. They want to put in a stop and go, have some gas stations, and then have a convenience store, and they could have a coffee shop with all kind of place running on the front of it. The plans are there for the conditional use. It does fit in with the zoning. Again, it passed 3-0. There's really no issue with any of them. The road is going to be, they're going to put it in if they ever want to improve it. They have to improve it to Napoleon to our specs, but otherwise, and there's going to have to be a little bit of a different turn in and out of there off of Scott Street to kind of mirror what happens at Rite Aid, Rite-In only, so we don't have people coming out of Wood Drive colliding with people coming out of this establishment. So again, past 3-0. Future development of Scott Street.
Any idea when they're going
They
to
asked,
start?
I asked when they're going to break ground. He said he hoped the fall of this year.
Great.
So. What I told him was at one time we named that Roundhouse Road, and when those kids were in junior high, I hoped they could cut the ribbon. I think those kids are all now in college, so it might be a little harder to find them and help us cut the ribbon, but we'll see how it goes. So.
Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that's been approved. Item J6 is discussion or action, appointments to tax review board. Joel?
I have one name, I didn't know, I wasn't able to find anybody else for council's, what is it, I make one,
Yep, and we have 2.
and there's 2 for council, so I did find one. Ashley Bowen said that she would be able to do it, and she's the only one I could conjure up on this one, so I
Okay.
don't know if anybody from council or the mayor or anybody else was able to find
I
it.
asked and I was told no. So.
Okay.
Yeah, the other ones I asked too said no.
Right. So we'll have to find 2 more to be appointed. We want to wait till we have all 3 or appoint Ashley now?
I don't think it really matters. If you wait, I think that would be fine.
Okay. And when do we think that this board will be meeting for the first time? Kelly, do you know?
If the person is found to be appealed, then they have 60 days before the hearing will take place.
Okay. All right, so we will get on that for the next meeting. All right. Okay, moving on to item J7, discussion or action on purchasing equipment through the NPPG will be cooperative purchasing contract for the Napoleon Aquatic Center. Joel?
Thank you. Gotta get back to the other agenda. Get past the planning commission stuff. Just wanted to bring up the memo that was in right here, your packet from Tony. But just to give kind of summarize all this rather than read through it all. This is for the pool project, and what we're planning on doing is using this NPP Gov contract. It's a national purchasing contract. That goes through. It's kind of like a state bid contract, only it's a national product. We will need legislation, but I want to give a little explanation that what we're trying to do is, for a general contractor, if we bid this out and roll it into the bid package, general contractors usually add 5 to 10%, usually the 10% range, for that they add on for materials and supplies. It's just a general rule of thumb to go by. We would be able to purchase this on our own through this contract and actually save about 3 to 5% on the retail price. So, in other words, right now the estimates that we're getting back on this project are, and this is for the slide and the main play feature, is somewhere in the range of $410,000 for both of them combined. And going through this NPP contract would allow us to realize these savings up to about an estimated $60,000 total. Where if you have a $410,000 retail price and we bid it out in the package and there's an adder for the general contractor, could be up to $40,000 by going through this and purchasing it ourselves, saving 5%, could be up to $20,000. So a total difference of about $60,000 savings that we could realize. So that's the reason why we're recommending this. Would request council to direct the law director to draft legislation to go through this because we feel that it's in the best interest of the city.
If I can speak on this one, just real brief. I did talk to Tony on this one, and this is the second time that one of these co-op programs has been presented to me. In my opinion, these co-op programs do not suffice, are not the same thing as a state cooperative purchasing program through Ohio. And that would be the reason we wouldn't be going through the state purchasing program in this situation. However, under 10604, toward the end here, it does state that when the city finds it to be in the best interest to eliminate competitive bidding to go with a specific contractor, it can do so. It just needs to direct the law director to draft such legislation and then vote on it. That's kind of where it's at right now.
So we're confident if we put this out for bid, we will not get this number,
Correct.
because they won't bid on it.
The vendor that supplies these specific items that
Right.
wouldn't bid on it standalone. It'd have to be a general contractor
Okay.
that would then have to secure the materials for it.
Ask, good idea, bad idea, Billy? What's,
I think that council can use its powers under 10604. I'll leave the good idea, bad idea to Joel and Tony. I've not done that research. When
Okay.
Tony tells me that it's cheaper to go this route, I believe him. He's in charge of that department, and we had to. This isn't something I recommend doing very often. It is a power that council has to eliminate competitive bidding in a situation where the council does find it in the best interest of the city to do so. But generally, we would go through state purchasing contract or some other route. We try to make sure that we get through bids, go through the bidding process generally. But if there's a situation, and when Tony tells me this is a better option, I would believe him. And I wanted to make sure that we were just covered legally. So citing 10604 in the legislation will cover us, I believe.
so I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes?
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Joel, could you make sure that Tony's available to come to the meeting the next?
I told him to stay home because we're social distancing, the same with the other.
Right, but for the
departments.
next one, when this is going to be on there, in case we do have some questions directly for him, then
Yeah.
he'd be available.
I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
But, I just,
Yep.
that's why.
Can he be available during or via conference call, so
Mhm.
being in the room? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
Okay,
yeah, that'd be great too.
yeah.
Okay. Moving on to item J7, discussion or action on purchasing equipment through, let me cross that one off.
You meant J8?
Yeah, we'll go to
Or is
8. Approval to enter into an agreement for professional design services with Peterman Associates for the American Road and Oakwood Avenue Improvement Project. Joel?
Thank you. As we've been going through the process for working with Loves and trying to, and we kind of talked about this during the budget time, but the discussion of repaving and beefing up American Road from Industrial to Oakwood, and then the portion of Oakwood down to Freedom Drive, kind of rolling that as one package, one big project. What this would do is allow us to enter into a contract with Peterman to design it, and just scroll down to the negotiated price, so $112,000. This is all grant funded too, by the way. This is coming from we got $200,000 from the Transportation Improvement District, $150 from Jobs and Commerce, and $250 from 629 funds through the RGP. Love's also secured a through Maumee Valley Planning Organization, received $500,000 from CDBG. So what we're planning on doing is doing this in two different phases as well. The total project cost is about $3 million. About half of the project, maybe a little bit more, would be from the Pet Vet to Industrial Drive, and Loves would cover any additional funds for their portion. As for the remaining, and that would eat up all of the grant funds, but I know I talked about this in the past, but we're looking at establishing a TIF district, something we'll want to put on the Municipal Properties Committee meeting agenda. Setting up a TIF district would allow us to, any improvements to the property similar to a CRA, any improvements to the property, those funds, instead of being just abated completely, would then be collected and utilized to pay off the debt service for that portion of the project. So we're looking at about a $1.5 million remainder of the project. None of the funds would come out of capital funds, because what we look at doing is, borrowing from the state infrastructure bank and taking out state infrastructure bank loan, low interest rates for infrastructure, and so that would cash flow the project up front, which would be 2021. But we got to do the design, then apply for the funds, and then get them, establish a TIF district, all things that take time. So hence why I'm having to have this discussion now, and then put it on the agenda for whenever the next time we meet at municipal properties, unless you want to forego. I'm sorry, you're not the committee chair anymore.
We don't have one.
There is no committee chair for it, all right. So unless you want to forego going through that, the committee process, and just have it brought forward at a council meeting, to have these discussions regarding the establishment of a TIF district and everything else. I'm trying to give you the summary of it, but these are complicated deals. They take a lot of time to process, and just want to make sure I'm getting enough information out and following the processes and everything else we need to go through. So, I mean, do you want to take it through the committee, or we can take it through full council, since we don't have a chair for that committee right now? We could put it on a meeting agenda. Say, it doesn't have to be April 6th. It could be the following meeting, which I believe it looks like it's April 20th, something like that.
I'm fine with putting it on the council.
Okay. So that way I can get a little bit more, more packet materials out. We did have, it does require school board approval. Now, there are two school districts, Liberty Center and Napoleon school districts, that are in this area. So establishing a TIF district with the terms that we're looking for would require both school districts to approve of this. So we have spoken with both of them, and are actively engaged in conversation with them, and both are very receptive to doing something like this to see this through.
Can you explain the TIF district a little bit?
I'm sorry, yeah, TIF stands for tax increment financing. So similar to like how you have a CRA agreement, the community reinvestment area, that's a tax abatement. So for an economic development incentive. So and it runs with the property. So if a developer purchases a property, and then a CRA is granted for that property, then the owner still has to pay those taxes. It's just any improvements to that property that would create additional tax revenue would be abated. Well, in this particular case, you establish a district that covers multiple properties in an area, and the improvements to those properties, that increased tax revenue would be collected and then used to pay off the debt service of the infrastructure. So hence the reason for having to borrow from another source. The state infrastructure bank seems to be like the best source, because one, is low interest, two, it doesn't count against our debt capacity, and three, you can defer payments for a short period of time for us to be able to collect on any improvements that are made. Obviously, with Loves and some of these other improvements that are being made out there, there are revenues from a TIF district that could be had to pay off this SIB loan. So again, we're looking at starting in the work, the project, so getting it designed, bid by the end of the year, and then started in spring if we can, or next construction year. So, establishing these takes time, especially when you got 2 school districts to work with and then city council. So does that help in a nutshell of what you're looking for? Okay.
Yeah, I think
We
so.
haven't done one of these, and I've worked on a couple of projects that had TIF districts and SIB loans, but we haven't done one here. So getting everybody familiarized with the process, like with the school districts, has been it's a big educational piece, but it works, and the program is designed for projects just like this. I mean, this fits it to a T. So, that's what we'll be, discussing in about 4 or 5 weeks from now.
Sort of an underrated, not directly related question, but when does Love's plan on starting their construction, Jason? Did you know?
They didn't say.
They didn't say. Okay.
They've been a little elusive in conversations with us, but all indicators are pointing to, breaking ground in the spring.
Oh,
At least on the
2020.
road portion, so
Okay.
don't know about the site work.
Okay.
Joe, I have a concern. Peterman's again?
This is a really good, this is a really good price.
I'm just saying the other engineering firms are gonna say Napoleon's favoring them. That's the way it's looking to me, because they got Park Street, they got the pool, they got the high school, now they're getting this. It's just something that popped in my mind. I'm thinking,
The team that reviews the quality-based selection, that process, vets all of the, there's still scoring criteria that they use to vet all the proposals, so. And with.
yeah, I don't wanna put you on the spot, but.
No, it's a fair question.
Sure.
No, that's absolutely a fair question. If you look at typical engineering projects for roads, you're looking at, 10%. This is, $1.5 million project at 112. This I think, more than fair, so I think.
Sure.
And they got a track record with us, so in this particular instance, I think this is our best option.
Okay.
It's, like I said, it's case by case,
Sure.
and it's, we gotta vet them all, so. No, I appreciate it, it's,
Yeah. You gotta look out for the city.
and we gotta, that's right, yeah.
Sure.
But in this case, honestly, in this case, I don't,
All right.
we're getting a deal.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item J9, discussion and action approval to enter into an agreement for professional design services, Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for the 2020 GIS Implementation Service Phase 3. Joel?
So this legislation was just passed to allow us to sole source this work to Stantec, so this would just require an approval from council to enter into a contract with them to do that work.
Okay, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, that's been approved. Item J10, discussion or action on request for proposal for banking services. Kelly?
Thank you. I would like like to issue an RFP on Thursday to select one bank for the banking services to provide for efficiency, so we're not transferring between the banks all the time. And the award would be for 5 years, and it would be due back on April 8th.
Okay. Can you explain the RP and what that?
The request for proposals,
Okay.
it goes out to anyone that wants to bid. They have to be a bank that has different criteria that they have to meet, FDIC and so forth, and then we have all of our services that we need, and then they'll bid on it based on pricing and what services they can provide to us. And there'll be a selection process based on certain criteria. We'll go through the same sort of thing that he's talking about with the request for qualifications, and we would bring a recommendation for an award back to you guys.
Okay. And what do you need today? Do we need to?
Just like a blessing.
I
You
think
guys
it's a
are
good
okay?
idea. Very good idea.
She doesn't technically need anything to move forward. I'm just looking to make sure everybody's on board. So
Okay.
if you wanted to make a motion to proceed, that'd probably be the next step forward.
Motion?
Second?
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Rox, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Okay, moving on to item J11. Discussion or action on special council meeting / public forum set for Tuesday, March 24th, 2020.
Personal opinion, I know we tried to set this date at the last meeting, but I still feel that is needed, but I don't feel it is appropriate to do it at this point in time. I would like to see if we can, of course, no one knows the future out there, but right now, I'd like to see it, something moved to at least May, with the city still having the opportunity to share their information in the same sort of what we discussed 3-hour time frame, and for citizens to present their questions and opinions on that issue. I mean, I know it's a sort of a hot potato issue, but I just don't feel, my personal feeling is I think we at least need the public forum before we make a final decision. And when we're not supposed to be meeting right now, I don't think it's a good idea to move forward. I think we need to set something in May.
If the goal is citizen input, holding it on the 24th of March does not get you the most citizen input.
Exactly, that's my
Yeah.
point.
I think if we push it back to look again at May the 4th, that's the first council meeting in May, and we can reevaluate at that time and pick a day. You know, that
I'm
gives
okay
us,
with that.
that gives us a lot of time, and if it's not all clear in May, then we look later.
I just personally don't want to make a final decision on this until we have that citizen input.
I completely agree, yep.
So I'm
Sounds good.
okay if we put it, I don't know, you table it to the first meeting in May or whatever you have to do, and then, I don't know, Mr. President, how you do that.
You can take it off the
Yeah.
agenda and reassign it to that meeting, and
Right. Yep, I agree. I think that's what we should do.
Put it on for that May,
For
what is
May
it, May
4th?
4th?
And I think you can just do that without motion, right?
That's correct.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then we can set a new date at that time.
And I'm sure that's already taken care of. Okay, moving on to item J12, discussion or action, first quarter budget adjustments. I'm going to refer that to the Finance and Budget Committee meeting.
You was gonna do that at that meeting, wasn't you?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
we'll meet next week then.
Okay.
Okay, item J13, discussion or action on the CDBG Target of Opportunity Downtown Revitalization Grant. Direct the law director to draft legislation. Joel, what is this for?
this is a grant application. I thought we had talked about it during budget time as well, and you know, we have some funding set aside for grant applications, and this was one of them that was identified as a potential, but we're working with Maumee Valley Planning Organization to apply for a grant from CDBG for downtown revitalization. Their program has changed. City of Napoleon received one back in 2014, maybe, was it? Do you remember? And it was used for, the businesses can use it for the storefronts.
Mhm.
I believe there's a 50% match, and there's a bunch of hoops that they have to jump through. But they did change their criteria, and there are three. You can only pick 3 buildings up to a certain amount of money. The 3 business owners that Maumee Valley Planning was able to identify were the Heller Building. That's where Country Gourmet
Right.
is. There's 4 storefronts. The Brick and Brew and the Edward Jones Building. By the
Next
hardware
hardware?
store. For the 3, so they're all solid projects. They all want to move forward. It's a good fit for the program, and I was going to say that the legislation may not need to come back at the next council meeting, but the grant program does require legislation. So I'm just following the guidance from Maumee Valley Planning to see when they think it's appropriate to have legislation come through.
Okay. We have a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation.
So moved.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, item J14, discussion or action, ODOT salt contract participation. Anything on that?
Just that this comes up once a year. Going to request suspension at the next meeting because ODOT, for whatever reason, requires a quick turnaround.
How quickly do you need it?
They give us 1 month.
Okay.
Typically, it's 1 month.
Here it is.
So it's
Whatever you want to do. If next meeting is fine, then.
next meeting is fine. Yep, next meeting's fine.
Just a curiosity question, nothing against the contract, but did we have, I know since we have that building and we did not use a lot of salt this year, does that reduce the amount we need for another year, or? It's just a curiosity question.
The more you have, the better you are.
Yeah.
And we have enough room?
There were years ago. I remember this back in my previous life. The utility department was criticized for purchasing too much salt at a time when we weren't using salt, and then we had a snow emergency, the most snow ever recorded in our area, and we never ran out of salt, but there were a lot of communities that did, and we're rationing. So it's, when people aren't using salt, usually the prices are lower, and if they are lower, then you just stockpile.
And the reason I ask, I did have a question on that, so.
Yeah, yeah.
How are the prices right now? It's a couple of years ago, we were at what, like 70, was it $70?
Yes, last year it jumped.
Right, it did like 105 or,
Last year.
To almost 100.
so where is it at now?
We won't know until we get the bid back. You know what I mean? It's a bid price. So we are globbing onto the ODOT contract, but what we have to tell them is how much salt do we want to buy?
And then they tell us how much.
And then they tell us what the price is.
I want a business like that.
It's still.
I guess my main reason for the question is if we do have a decent amount and we don't necessarily need to buy it now, and if the prices are higher than what they could be next year, which obviously we don't know, do we buy a lot and not knowing how much it's going to cost us?
I believe salt is a commodity, so it's like a commodity market.
Yeah.
I'll tell
I'm
you that.
laughing because last time Dan said something, that's not gonna snow. We ended up with 3 feet
Yeah,
of snow.
right.
Oh, we're not gonna need the salt. Jeez, oh Pete,
We
just
haven't
jinx
had
us
3
again.
feet of snow all winter, Mr. Mayor.
I'm having flashbacks to that meeting. It's not gonna snow. Jeez, oh Pete, next thing you know, we're under level 2 snow
What
emergency.
this would do is allow us to get on their contract. The amount of that Jeff Rathke has recommended right now is 500 ton. Usually we have about 1,700 on hand in a typical year. So he's recommending that we purchase 500 ton.
Okay.
I mean, we still used salt this year too.
Right.
So
Well, aren't you using salt for the brine solution too? Isn't that
we have the brine tanks, but we actually purchased the brine from
The state.
ODOT because it's
okay?
easier and cheaper.
I'll just say though, I think we've got the capacity if we had to do that, don't we?
Yep. We do.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, could I have a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation that he's already drafted?
So moved.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right, we'll go around the table here. Kelly, you want to start it off? Have anything?
We just had the drive-through open only. Today went pretty smooth. We had the cones up and we're waiving the fees and not doing shut-offs for this period of time because of the restriction.
Are you doing taxes that way too?
They are paying taxes, but they have to put the stuff in the envelope with their name on it. And then, some people are trying to have them do the taxes through the window, but obviously it clogs up the line, so they're having them call in.
Okay.
Or go online, and if they only have W-2s only, they can do it online.
Thank you. Jeff?
Coming up Scott Street, heading south, right under the underpass, there's a manhole lid. I don't know what's happened to it, but when you hit it, it sounds like your vehicle's gonna fall apart. I don't know if any of you guys hit it in the last couple of days. It's been a week. I don't know what they've did out there, but something has happened in one of them lids.
Scott Street where? I'm sorry.
Just up from the underpass. I don't know if they've done some survey work out there or what. They pulled the lid, and when you hit it, it sounds like your vehicle's gonna blow up.
I think there was a survey crew out there last week.
You said north or
Going south, coming into town.
south of the 24?
Yes, coming into town, almost to, it's probably around
The Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen area.
Yep.
That's it.
Lori?
Just like to say that I was proud of the girls' basketball team. I'm super bummed about what happened. But thank you to the Chiefs and to the city for trying to make it a special event. And who knows what the future holds, but it was fun while it lasted.
Right,
Right,
thank you.
that's all I have.
Dan?
I was sort of going to tag on to what Mrs. Sinclair said. I think that's been a very neat accomplishment, and I personally want to thank our city manager and our city school superintendent for the efforts they made to try to have this festival, along with work from the police department and others. And hopefully we can still have, even though it may be a delayed celebration, sometime in the spring to honor these young ladies. So thank you for your efforts, Mr. City Manager.
Thanks. Count on it, if it's okay with everyone.
Yep.
So I've been talking a lot. Every time I talk a lot, I start losing my voice a little bit lately.
That's all.
What I was going to say is that the, depending on what the schools want to do, I was going to talk to Eric Belcher and see if he wanted to, what kind of celebration they wanted to have. If they want to have it at the school only, if they want to do it downtown or have a parade. Not really sure what the plan is right now. Life's kind of on hold, so we'll have to wait and see.
It. All right. Wanted to thank Joel and everyone else that's been working so hard with the all the changes here at the city building. I'm sure Billy and Kelly and all of the directors putting their heads together and coming up with some solutions to make it as easy as possible to perform duties and get things accomplished, but with a lot of changes. So I appreciate all the hard work and effort you guys are putting into that. And I think putting out messages and notifying people as quickly as you are is helping quite a bit as well. So thank you for all the efforts there. And both chiefs, again, thanks for everything you've done with the girls basketball team, escorting them in and out multiple times. I think that that was awesome. That really got a lot of buzz for the community, and I think the girls really appreciated that a lot. So that's all I have. Jason?
Lori Sands has resigned from the Board of Zoning Appeals. And the way the charter reads, somebody from the Planning Commission also has to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and Larry Vokey has volunteered for that job, so we need to appoint him to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So we could do that quick.
Need a motion?
Not officially, but that's always been a tradition, Jeff, yeah.
Motion?
Second?
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes?
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Speaking of the last time the girls came through town, I was at the red light, the green light there at Five Corners. Wanted to go straight, and the car in front of me wasn't moving. There's a green light, and I laid on my horn, and I think I embarrassed the car to go through the intersection. And then I pulled up, and that's when I heard the sirens. And then I stopped. The next thing I know, the girls were in front of me, and I felt about 2 inches tall. So whoever that person was in front of me, I'm sorry for beeping my horn, not knowing what the heck was going on. I apologize.
You just won the front row seat.
That's quite exactly what they thought. Yeah. Seriously, they drove by, and then they pulled through the intersection, they stopped in front of Circle K, and they watched, and thinking, oh, no. And I couldn't catch up, so I apologize to whoever that person was. Talked to Chairman of the Republican Party, Steve Kreider, today, and as of now, that meeting for the Republican Party is still on for March the 26th for Jeff Meyer's replacement. Billy, I'm going to hate to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot. What's the executive session for the utility? What's that? Which one is that? Safeguarding utility?
Protect the utility, that's the easiest way to put it.
Protect utility?
Yeah.
I need executive session to protect utility. The official one that we always go through. I've had two different churches reach out to us and ask if they can do for the city, for us. I know I talked with Pastor Marcis and Chief, if any of your guys need chaplain or anything like that right now, he's ready to go. So there are a lot of people that are rooting for us to make the right decisions. And I think that's always nice to know that there's a lot of people that want us to succeed because we help them succeed. You know, they're not trying to, they're not against us, they're for us and they're with us, and people are praying for us, and there's always a little comfort in that. So just nice to know sometimes that there's people they're on our side. So, and I think, you know, Joel, you've done a great job of trying to get messages out, and you know, we talked. Do we want to? You know, our next meeting isn't for 3 weeks. Is that too far? Do we need to meet again? I don't know.
I would say we just play it by ear. If something comes up and we need to schedule a special meeting, how many days notice do we need?
24 hours.
Just 24 hours. So I think, you know, in the way things are now, we're not supposed to meet very often with May,
right.
so we might as well just wait, and when we need something, we'll set it up for 24 hours and
that could
get it
happen,
done.
you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yep.
need to take action on something, you know, whether it's appropriation of funds for
Right.
something,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
there's,
Yep.
we'll keep getting messages out as much as we can, but, and if we can, do that, and if anybody sees a need to, hey, we need an update, we'll get it out.
That's all I had.
Thank you. Ken?
Just a lot of fun watching the girls play this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank them because they allowed Napoleon to show their best side, didn't they?
All right. Billy?
Real brief on the Open Meetings Act and these emergency orders issued. The Attorney General put out something, and it's not an official opinion, but giving a justification for some things that would be unusual for open meetings in normal times. Basically citing revised code 370313 in conjunction with 121.22 of the Open Meetings Act to justify an interpretation that would allow some telecom participation in meetings. We have asked through the OML for something a little more official than an unofficial opinion from the AG, some sort of order potentially giving us a little more cover, a little more top cover, stating that that is something that would jive with the Open Meetings Act. So I did put out that opinion in an email on Friday. Just hopefully everybody had a chance to read it, or if you haven't, please go ahead and read it. It's something to consider moving forward. The grouping, the potential group meetings keep getting smaller and smaller, and pretty soon it'll be two. I don't know, something, everybody will be locked down. Who knows what's going to happen in the future. I would like to praise state government. That's an unusual thing to say in a council meeting, but for their proactive action and reasonable responses to some of these potential emergencies. We don't want to let this thing run out of control. And I think they're doing the right thing by trying to limit some of these interactions in some of these large meetings. So as we get updates, I'll provide them. And if council deems it appropriate, perhaps we could start doing some, if we have to have a special meeting, perhaps it could be by telephone or something like that. All the other rules would still apply. We'd still have to give notice and so on. But the state is looking at ways to help us limit these meetings and try to work with us a little bit to keep everybody safe at the same time.
Thank you. Joel?
Dovetailing off of that, future committee meetings and boards and commissions, I don't know how you feel about, unless there's something pressing. I know we have quarterly budget adjustments, which we usually do, at the end of the quarter, so that's scheduled for next Monday. Is that right? There's a planning commission meeting item that there's a little bit of urgency to it since it's a special meeting that was scheduled. So still like to see us do that. Maybe even do it through teleconference if we can, is our maybe our trial run, if you want to do that. What I would say that if you do want to do that, we can just strongly encourage written comments and not have people coming in here and going to meetings. I mean the whole point of the open meetings is to not be transparent and not defraud the public or have a perception that we're defrauding the public. In this case, in these cases, obviously because of these emergencies, this emergency, that's. We're not trying to do that. It's just trying to keep everybody away from public places and minimizing the risks of exposure. So if you want to do that for the committee meeting next week, Joe, you're the chair. I don't know if you wanted to try it then or just have the meeting with everybody here. Right. Depends on however you want to do it. No, don't need an answer right now either, but
And for that one, we would just be making a recommendation to council for the budget adjustments, right? If that's something that we we can do. I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Anyway, maybe give us a.
I'll keep looking.
Okay.
I'll
Oh.
check the state sites
Yeah.
and make sure that everything, at the end of the day, it will be our decision, and based on my legal advice as to what I think is appropriate.
Right.
But it is nice to have a little bit of top cover sometimes too, so.
Right.
If the state will move quickly to state that we can have meetings as described, then I will let you know as soon as I know.
Okay, thank you.
The last thing is, talking with the health department today, as we do every morning at 9 o'clock now. They're going to be doing some promotional items for mental health awareness. A lot of people are going to be kept inside, not much to do. Kids are bouncing off the walls. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but we were going to do something to dovetail off of that as well, and kind of promote our parks and open spaces and walking trails and things for people to do outside. We are leaving the bathrooms open so people can wash their hands if they're out and about. Also, there was a question about the golf course. I feel and staff feels that leaving the golf course open is a good thing. It's not congregating in large groups. It promotes an outdoor activity. Keeps it's a wellness thing more than anything, and it's a minimal exposure risk for people too. So that's going to be that's my recommendation right now, is to keep people doing things, but not necessarily the things where people congregate, so to speak. So more to follow on that with the mental health stuff, but that's something to keep in mind going forward. Also, the Chief Mack put out some new procedures for the police department specific, just today, just earlier today, and just kind of adjusting our lives and our operations to what's going on. So just as we get information in, that's kind of how we've been doing it. We meet 9 o'clock in the mornings. Press conferences are usually 2 o'clock from the governor's office, and any other information between, we kind of react accordingly. So that's kind of how it's been going, in case anybody was wondering. That's all I got.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing. Please don't steal the toilet paper in the parks, because it happened this weekend.
Yeah.
So
That's ridiculous. I actually have two more things here. First, the TIRC meeting is pushed back to April 9th, and we also need to replace Jeff Myers, since he's no longer city councilman. Anyone want to, are you on there, Jeff?
Jeff C. is a rep, yep.
And I was on there before. I just, difficulty for me getting out of work when I need to, even though it's only once a year meeting. I can't guarantee I can get out of work to be there. Anybody else interested? If not, we'll nominate Ross because he's not here. Just kidding. He'd probably have a harder time getting out. No? If not, I'll put myself on there, or put my name up, and if I can't make it, then we'll have to get a replacement. So.
that's at CIC building? CIC?
The Hot Center
Yeah.
on the first floor. Meets once a year.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Like, why is it difficult for you to get out? Is it in the morning or something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a day long or?
No, it's
Do you know
just-
what time the meeting is?
Usually it's 9 o'clock, and it lasts about
Maybe an hour?
an hour.
Right.
Pretty roll through all of the agreements pretty quick.
I can do it, Joe,
So what day of the week is it?
if it makes it easier for you.
Let's see what day of the week that is.
Thursday.
Thursday? You say you want to do it?
I don't want to do it, but I will do it. If I'm the only one that's able to do it. Unless we get someone new on and then they want
Right,
to do it.
yeah. Then the new person gets it. And,
Welcome to council, here's 2 rocks. It's on the deep end. Yeah.
well, go ahead, I'll try to make it. So, somebody want to make a motion to appoint me on there?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, and the last thing, Chief Mack, have something for you. Right before the meeting today, I did see the Toledo Police put out a notice about a new scam already for the coronavirus. People are going door to door selling test kits to people. So I don't know if you want to check into that, if you want to put something out there. With everyone being afraid, I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to buy it, so. Yeah.
I'll see what they had to say or what they got out.
Okay. All right, and we have a motion to go into executive session for, to protect utilities.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. I'm ready to go home. I took everything away. Are we on? All right. Could I have a motion to come out of the executive session for protecting utilities?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes, no action taken. And moving on to item L, approve financial reports and payment of bills.
I just have a question. On these bills, can we know who we're paying the money back to? Like on this income tax, is there any reason that we don't know that person's name? Is there
I
any?
want to say yes, but I can't cite anything specifically without a little bit of lead time for
Sure.
research the rule.
Could you
but
check for me, please? and
I'm
see?
fairly, yeah, I'm fairly certain we can't list that name.
I think it's until after it.
It's been a little while since I looked at that, but I think there is a reason that the name is listed.
Because we're
Yeah,
using.
yeah,
It's the same reason,
It
the
can
same
only
reason
come
we
out
generally didn't mention the giant company.
Yeah. All right.
So,
I was just wondering. I'd
Similar
like-
Until it's
similar reasoning,
expense.
but let me put the
Because
actual.
the name is actually on the check, and the check is a record.
Okay. All right. I was just wondering. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, then the financial reports and payment of bills shall stand approved. Could I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Thank you all. Be safe.
You too.